Welcome to I Mean It's Alright News, where we talk about what politics us off, as well as other current events. Today, we'll be talking about whether feeling the burn is really just the result of flaming trousers, is Bernie Sanders an honest man, or are his pants on fire? For those of you who aren't aware, Bernie Sanders is a Democratic candidate in the 2016 presidential election who is rapidly growing popularity, especially among millennials and civil interest groups. The man born in Brooklyn that later moved to Vermont to become mayor, then representative, then senator. Sanders has been politically active from very early on in his life, longest serving independent in congressional history. Known and praised for his consistency, he has gained many supporters, currently polling just behind Clinton, and has won primaries such as New Hampshire, Colorado, Minnesota, Oklahoma, Vermont, Kansas, Nebraska, Maine, and Michigan. A few of those primaries he won on the infamous Super Tuesday, and today we'll be looking at what claims he made after the conclusion of those Super Tuesday wins.
Early on in his speech, Bernie stated, "In Vermont, billionaires do not buy town meetings, and in America we are going to end a corrupt campaign finance system." Corruption in campaign and legislation is everywhere, and Vermont is not an exception. Vermont was given a D- on state integrity, placed 39th out of all 50 states. Vermont has attempted to take some action in eliminating an unfair influence in campaigns by setting limits on how much money a benefactor can contribute. Though that isn't to say that there can't be ways around the laws. Lobbyists are relentless and are quite good at manipulating both laws and officers. Another bold statement Bernie later said, and you all know that while our people are working so hard, almost all of the new wealth and income generated in America is going to the top 1%. Not only is this true that as much as 95% of generated income goes to the top 1%, this also isn't a recent problem. This has been flaring up since at least 2009, according to studies. While there is some debate about what exactly qualifies as income, as in whether this includes taxes and such, it is greatly skewed to the top 1%.
In the midst of his speech, Bernie Sanders mentioned that even though America is the richest country in the history, it still has the most people in jail. America is in fact the wealthiest country when measuring total individual wealth by quite a large sum, about $48 billion, and the U.S. also has the largest amount of people incarcerated, 698 prisoners per 100,000 population. Compared to the second wealthiest country, China, is about $17 billion, and the country with the second most people in their criminal system. Virgin Islands with 542 per 100,000. It is pretty clear what Bernie Sanders said is true. While it is inevitable for two vastly different parties to disagree, is this statement a legitimate critique or simply bias? Bernie said, "Now, I know many of my Republican colleagues that climate change is a hoax, think that climate change is a hoax. Republican candidates don't all think climate change is a hoax, although two presidential candidates are still running, and thus half of those are still running, in my opinion, that it is false. It is clear, however, that many of the Republican candidates are not doing anything to stop climate change. Regardless of what people say, science shows that the ozone is the one really feeling the burn." I want to review that one later.
As I said earlier, Bernie is praised for his consistency, and he knows it. During his speech on Super Tuesday, he said, "So let me go on the record and say, as you have heard me say for years, healthcare is a right for all people." So just how long has Bernie been supporting healthcare reform? This question actually blew up recently in the news when Hillary Clinton attempted to call out Sanders, asking, "Where was he when I was protesting for reform in '93? The answer? Right behind her. Yeesh. If photographic evidence isn't enough, perhaps his voting record is. He hasn't been voting in favor of providing affordable health care for all citizens since early 1993. Bernie Sanders has definitely come a long way, but just how much progress has he made? In his speech, Bernie has said that just 10 months ago he was only at 3% in the polls. Is it really true that he started off that low? Apparently, yes. He has made a lot of progress since then, as people's interest flared up. Whether the voters' burning passion will win him in the election, I can't say. I guess we will just have to set that question on the back burner for now.
So just how honest is Bernie? Let's put it to the test with the truth-o-meter.
His first claim kind of falls flat, but there isn't enough solid evidence to see if Vermont's government is a sellout, so we can cash in that claim as mostly fake. In Coming Truth, his second claim about how America's money ends up in the top 1% pocket is extremely correct. Mark up this one as true.
Next in line, we're talking crime. The claim saying that America, the wealthiest country, has the most people in jail in the world is in fact true. Denying this one would be simply criminal. And what about calling out his Republican colleagues on their denial of climate change? Well, it isn't exactly true, but it most certainly is well-founded. While they may seem like Bernie wouldn't be the one to pick fights, sometimes even the sun casts shade.
Hillary ought to take care when talking about Bernie and his involvement with certain issues. Whereas Hillary Clinton's fib was exposed through the action of the media, Sanders' claim was validated. He really has been supporting healthcare reform from as far back as 1993. Wait, did he do this? Okay, well then I gotta redo it. Hillary ought to take care when talking about Bernie and his involvement with certain issues. Whereas Hillary Clinton's fib was exposed through the action of the media, Sanders' claim was validated. He really has been supporting healthcare reformation as far back as 1993. This one is undeniably true. And finally, 10 months ago, Bernie really was only at 3% in the polls. This one is also true.
So pull that all together, and it looks like, for the most part, Bernie Sanders is an honest man.
Move over, Free College. It looks like honesty is really Bernie's best policy.
That concludes our time here on I Mean It's Alright news panel. If you think
Move over, Free College. It looks like honesty is really Bernie's best policy.
That concludes our time here on I Mean It's Alright news panel. If you think this guy is mixing facts and fiction, be sure to state a comment, and I'll be sure to check them out. This Carolina bus... Start over. I need to find an order. Let's rolling out of the station there.
Okay. Move over, Free College.
See, this Caroline bus.
Yeah.
This helps her slide.
Okay. Move over, Free College. It looks like honesty is really Bernie's best policy.
That concludes our time here on I Mean It's Alright news panel. If you think this guy is mixing fact and fiction, be sure to state a comment, and I'll be sure to